They're both transmigrators from another world. The male lead is a gamer who knows the entire plot, while the girl is a novel reader who has read his story. At this moment, she disguises herself as an innocent voice of reason, launching a capture strategy on him, simply because this is a world on the brink of destruction. Only by joining the male lead's team can she secure the biggest bargaining chip for survival. She originally wanted to ride his coattails to the finale. Unexpectedly, she got too into character and overacted, forcibly twisting a harem novel into a reverse harem. Not only did the upright male lead from the original work develop feelings for her, even the cunning villain male lead, who is also a transmigrator, was conquered by her. At this time, she had just awakened her ability and entered the Awakener Academy. The Novel Academy's F-Class commander is a typical male-oriented power fantasy. The male lead, who transmigrated into the game's villain cannon fodder, collects minions, beats villains, and incidentally starts a harem in the academy. In the past, she would never touch this kind of novel, but she couldn't resist her friend's strong recommendation in her previous life. Unfortunately, although she transmigrated here, knowing all the plots, she didn't have any golden finger in her hand. Jiang Naxian, born in an orphanage at the bottom of this world, for 16 years, just surviving exhausted all her strength. Ethics are thin here. Chaos and violence are everywhere. The dean who sold children as commodities for money. The caregivers who treated children as punching bags. If she hadn't met that teacher, she would probably have been trapped in a living hell forever. Until the teacher took over as dean, the children of the orphanage finally had a safe place to stay. But now the orphanage is becoming increasingly destitute. Having just awakened her ability, she decided to use this power to help the orphanage through its difficulties. Unfortunately, she awakened a super money-burning ability, Sniper, which relies completely on teammates in the early stages. Just as she was at her wit's end, she remembered the extremely cunning male lead in the novel. Usually, protagonists in modern fantasy novels fall into two categories. One is the steady type who is decisive in killing and works silently. The other is the speculative type who is crazy like a profiteer and fishes for benefits. An Academy's F-Class commander tells the story of the steady protagonist from the original game world and the speculative protagonist who transmigrated into the cannon fodder destined to die early. That speculative protagonist was originally a player of the game before transmigrating. Not only does he hold all the game guides, he also possesses the eye of insight that can view character data. Relying on these advantages, he swept up all kinds of treasures in the game world, cultivated teammates, and built a huge force. And this type of male lead has always been willing to spend resources on his own people. Teammates in male-oriented power fantasies can all reach the peak of life in the end. Since she can't be the protagonist, then just clinging to the thigh that can take her flying is enough. On the day of the entrance ceremony, the protagonist of the original game was about to take the freshman oath. Jiang Naxian remembered at this moment that Speculator seemed to have said some super Chinibu line. Just as the thought popped up, a boy's low voice came from beside her. "I will inevitably save this world." She turned her head abruptly. Isn't this that speculative male lead? It turns out those strange gazes she felt earlier were all directed at him. No wonder. In the novel, the original body's reputation was extremely bad. Even if the person inside has changed, the external label isn't that easy to tear off. Anyway, this is an opportunity delivered to her door. But how to naturally get close to this hot-blooded novel male lead and become friends? She had a plan days ago. Sunder a heroine is useless. There's no shortage of the cool type. She can't act the Yandere type. Just as she was hesitating, her younger brother Jiang Sun took the initiative to find her. "Sister, what are you doing?" Jiang Naxian put down the notebook and answered with a smile, "I'm making plans for the orphanage." Hearing this, Jiang Sun's expression suddenly changed. His tone carried anxiety. "Sister, don't always sacrifice yourself for us. You're already an awakener. You can live easily and freely by yourself. You don't need to care about us anymore." Looking at the boy's slightly trembling hands due to nervousness, Jiang Naxian actively held them to comfort Jiang Sun. "Ah, you're my family. The dean is, and so are the other children. How could I ignore my family?" She gently patted her brother's back, thinking he really looked like a well-behaved and cute puppy. Wait, puppy? There doesn't seem to be this setting in the heroine types. That girl's sweet, soft, and a gentle voice rang out. causing the pair of blood-red pupils beside her to instantly turn towards her. Hello. Taking advantage of the moment he was stunned, she suddenly leaned in. What Jiang Naxian wanted to play was exactly the charming puppy type who is gentle and lively like sunshine. Roll. She cursed inwardly. Damn it, only this persona is left. But her tone became even more harmless, her eyes full of pure curiosity. What is your name? I am Jiang Naxian. The other party was surprised. You don't know me? She immediately pretended to be surprised. Ah, are you very famous? This person is indeed famous. Luo Yuan is a famous bastard in the Awakener circle. He has caused almost every trouble possible. However, that was before the speculator transmigrated, and this reputation is limited to the Awakener circle. Jiang Naxian followed up. Are you a celebrity? The boy turned his head away uncomfortably, his tone lacking confidence. No, my name is Luo Yuan. Jiang Naxian was from a commoner background. As a government-sponsored Awakener, it was normal for her not to know Luo Yuan. Awakeners in this world are divided into two categories. One is those who rely on hereditary traits, making the whole family Awakeners for generations and occupying high positions. The other is Awakeners accidentally discovered among the people. She lowered her voice and said with a bit of shyness, I'm a government-sponsored Awakener. I don't know anyone here. It's inevitably a bit awkward. To be honest, I'm still worried about keeping up with the Academy's progress. Yuan, do you know many people here? Luo Yuan responded politely. I come from an Awakener family. I know a little. Is that so? That's amazing. Jiang Naxian's eyes shone with admiration. Then can you use your ability? Luo Yuan frowned slightly and leaned back. This is a posture of dropping one's guard and relaxing. The corners of his mouth curled into a playful smile. Not sure yet. Jiang Naxian looked at his appearance and secretly complained. Stop pretending. How did you not know? After all, you are a fanatical player of this game. She must make Luo Yuan interested in her as soon as possible. Thinking of this, she clasped her hands together and requested with a naive tone, Oh, then teach me too. Luo Yuan was obviously not good at dealing with girls, and his ears instantly turned red. But just as she was about to succeed, the entrance ceremony came to an abrupt end. Her first capture attempt ended in failure, but Jiang Naxian, disguised as a little sunshine persona, quickly integrated into the class, while Luo Yuan, whose original body was a villain cannon fodder, was left alone as expected. He reviewed the game plot alone in the corner. At this stage, he is too weak to act alone. Even if he wanted to contact other Awakener families, he would hit a wall due to the original owner's dark history. So, the speculator will definitely start capturing Class F, where the prejudice against him is lighter, and her skill happens to be the DPS role Luo Yuan urgently needs. As long as she shows her ability, she will be recruited into his team sooner or later. The girl thought, I'll just help him farm some reputation first. Jiang Naxian waved and shouted to him, Yuan, come and do it together too. The speculator was stunned at first, then immediately understood, cooperating by stepping forward to introduce himself. Relying on his rich game knowledge, he quickly maxed out his favorability with the new classmates. The girls secretly complained. Clearly he was playing dumb when I asked. Now, he's pretending to be warm-hearted after gaining reputation. Shameless guy. Don't forget who paved the way for you. In the first class, before learning to hunt monsters, the teacher threw out a sharp question. Why do you want to be enemies with monsters? Strictly speaking, what we are doing is depriving life. Monsters also possess intelligence. Maybe we can become friends. Have you thought about this question? Most students had never thought deeply about it, feeling that killing monsters was a matter of course. A moment later, the teacher gave his own answer. Because most of them act with the goal of killing humans, so we must be enemies with them. I hope in the future, you can also find your own answers. Jiang Naxian actually hadn't finished reading the entire novel, only knowing a small part of the plot. This is also the reason she insisted on joining the male leads team. She wants to protect her family in this world, pay off the orphanage's debts, and let them live a good life. If she needs to hunt monsters for this, she is willing. And this is her answer. Now that she has made a familiar face in front of the male lead, it's time to plan the next step. She opened the attribute panel. Except for slightly higher endurance, The rest of the stats were as trashy as Luo Yuhan's. Sure enough, she still has to rely on leveling up to improve strength. Just then, the system suddenly popped up an update prompt. In an instant, she was wrapped in white light. Original system activated. Searching for protagonist. Confirming user's relationship with protagonist. Congratulations, you have been successfully incorporated into Luo Yuhan's story. Jiang Naxian will appear in the novel Academy's F-Class Commander. The original system is specially prepared for you as a reader. Characters in the story cannot see it. The system will provide original points based on your appearance frequency, importance, and the reader's reaction and attention to you. Points can be used to strengthen yourself. So it was because she contacted Luo Yuhan that this new system was triggered. She clicked on the store. From items that changed the plot to various weapons and potions. Even attributes can be purchased. She tried buying the cheapest weapon. The next second, a magic gun realistically appeared in her hand. Jiang Naxian was ecstatic. She finally has a cheat too. But for now, let's read the debut chapter first. Sure enough, it was content she had read. But from now on, she will personally participate in it. In the original work, when the game male lead swore to protect all of humanity, the speculator's thoughts at the time were similar to hers. I must live well in this world. When communicating with the students of Class F, he used the Eye of Insight. In the auditorium, he had confirmed the status of the senior students in advance. Except for the class where the protagonist was, other classes didn't have special characters. Until he discovered Jiang Naxian. Snipers are very useful when conquering dungeons. Although her ability values are not high, her skills are good. Luo Yuhan calculated secretly, preparing to pull the girl into the team after observing for a while. The initial progress was smoother than he expected. The headache-inducing reputation problem was also basically solved. Next, he planned to go to the training ground to find the protagonist Pu Shiyu. Just as Luo Yuhan was thinking about the follow-up plan, Jiang Naxian suddenly threw a question. Do you have younger brothers or sisters? Luo Yuhan had a smile on his face, but there was no warmth in his eyes. Of course, there is one with a terrible relationship, because this body is the biological brother of the game's heroine. Seeing this, Jiang Naxian was angry. In the debut chapter, it didn't mention her helping the speculator farm reputation during the day at all, and Luo Yuhan even thought she had feelings for him. Clearly, she was friendly to this guy for the sunny persona. What an ungrateful bastard. She cursed in her heart, but fortunately, everything is still proceeding as expected. Next, it depends on the reader's reaction. Besides some discussions, there were actually malicious comments saying, "Kill Jiang Naxian." She punched the system panel in anger. But this also confirmed that this world is really being watched by others like a novel. But compared to this outrageous worldview, what made her more anxious was the ability points gained from leveling up here are completely random. It could be 1 or it could be 10. Even the attribute distribution is random. That is to say, as a sniper, she might add all points to strength. Wouldn't that be a huge attribute disaster? Did that bastard speculator become a shut-in because he loved this broken game? Complaints aside, she quickly recognized reality. To improve ability, she can only rely on original points. That is, satisfying reader needs and farming favorability. Those demands for angst and infinite harems forced her to change her original plan. She originally wanted to have a good relationship with the speculator, squeeze out his connections and resources, and then become independent. But now, to collect a large amount of original points, she can only work towards the direction of the female lead from being an ordinary partner. For this goal, she not only has to maintain a good relationship with the speculator, but also get familiar with the main storyline characters one by one. After all, the subsequent events are all developing towards the destruction of the world. Having a good relationship with those heroes who prevent destruction can't be wrong. But she never expected that just the next day, they offended the game's heroine, who is Luo Yuhan's biological sister. Looking at the original heroine who looked like she wanted to beat Luo Yuhan to death, Jiang Naxian wailed, "Why is it like this?" His sister is the destined heroine in the game, and he's the game player who transmigrated in. Although the person inside has long changed, the sister Luo Yula is unaware. She still treats him as that bastard from the past who is full of evil. Look, Luo Yuhan just appeared at the training ground, and her anger was instantly ignited. "You must be here to tease me again, right?" The speculator wore a fake smile. "I'm here to train." "Train? Even a passing dog wouldn't believe that. Jiang Naxian, hiding in the dark, heard this line and instantly remembered the original plot. The speculator deliberately provoked his sister, pretending to be bullied, and was later saved by the original male lead Pu Shiyu, who was bursting with a sense of justice. Thinking of this plot, she hated Luo Yuhan from the bottom of her heart. But this is a conflict between siblings. She doesn't seem to need to participate. Just as she turned to leave, she saw Luo Yula seemed about to make a move. People like you have no right to train here at all. The girl immediately changed her mind. Although she was extremely unwilling in her heart, in order to earn original points to level up, she could only risk it. She shielded Luo Yuhan. I've been listening just now. What qualification or not, isn't that too much? The heroine was confused by this scene. Who are you? Did you speak for him because you don't know how unbearable that trash is? Luo Yula, the strong eldest mistype heroine in the original work, also Luo Yuhan's twin sister. Jiang Naxian didn't know her well, so she simply pretended not to know her. I'm Yuhan's classmate. I don't know what your relationship is with him, but Yuhan is not trash. Moreover, all Academy students have the right to freely use the training ground. Luo Yula immediately retorted, that is under the premise of using it for legitimate purposes. The training ground is for training. Jiang Naxian agreed with Yula in her heart, but couldn't say it out loud. When Luo Yuhan said he was also here to train, she stammered and added, he said he's training. Yula laughed in anger. You actually believe his nonsense, just like that? But no matter what Yuhan says, you insist it's a lie. Isn't that too much? These words made Luo Yula's expression sink instantly. Do you really know nothing about this person? I know. Jiang Naxian's tone was certain. His first impression looks a bit cold, but he actually loves to laugh when chatting and is also very kind. He doesn't discriminate against people because of their background and actively shares knowledge. He is a good person worth working hard with. Luo Yula completely crashed. No, who are you talking about? Jiang Naxian raised her hand. It's Yuhan. Seeing her brother's smug look, Luo Yula lowered her head. Her voice hid uncontrollable anger. How pitiful, being played around by that guy. The speculator continued to defend. Is there no possibility that I really changed? Trash, shut up. Luo Yula suddenly grabbed Jiang Naxian's hand, muttering, it's not enough to treat the training ground as a playground. To actually toy with a simple person like this. The next second, I won't allow it either. Jiang Naxian was shocked. Wait, was she this angry in the original work? You person, you really haven't changed at all. Jiang Naxian was so scared her hair stood on end, seeing Luo Yula's fist about to smash into the speculator. But Luo Yuhan not only showed no fear, he actually revealed a hint of a smile. Sure enough, in the next second, someone stopped her. The flames were extinguished. A tall boy stood between them. School Rule Article 1, Item 9. Except for discovering unregistered dungeons and during class time for ability enhancement, the use of unauthorized offensive skills is prohibited. The newcomer was none other than the original work's male lead, Pu Shiyu. You haven't forgotten the school rules, have you? Awakening abilities isn't for hurting others. Luo Yula's face flushed red as she shook off his hand. Of course I remember. After saying that, she walked away without looking back. Just like in the original work, Luo Yula had a fiery temper. If Pu Shiyu hadn't intervened, they probably really would have been done for. The speculator immediately seized the opportunity to step forward and thank him. But Pu Shiyu didn't let it go to his head at all. It's fine, don't take it to heart. I only stopped it because I was worried I'd be treated as an accomplice and receive a warning. But you could have been hurt, yet you still went out of your way to help us. Jiang Naxian immediately activated her sunny puppy girl praise mode. You're amazing. So bold. Pu Shiyu abruptly turned his head away, his cheeks slightly red. It was nothing special. The two exchange a glance, the same thought popping into their minds simultaneously. Confirmed he's shy. The girl's warm, pleasant voice rang out again. You are the model of practicing conscience in this era, the true pride of the Academy. The speculator immediately joined the bandwagon. The most excellent hunter of the future. Our idol. Pu Shiyu took a flustered step back. Wait, but how could people stop when they were up to mischief? The victim finally couldn't take it anymore and covered both their mouths with his hands. Stop talking. The ice-faced original male lead was surprisingly bad at handling praise. Jiang Naxian just felt that teasing him was too much fun. But thanks to this scene, the atmosphere relaxed quite a bit. She took the opportunity to start chatting up Shiyu. Are you here to train too? I was originally in the training ground, but I sensed a flow of mana nearby. The speculator naturally joined in. Mana perception? That's something even hunters find hard to do. Really? That's amazing. Was making the flames disappear just now also your skill? No, that was just a small trick. Once you're familiar with mana, you can do it easily. Just as Pu Shiyu finished being humble, Luo Yuhan dismantled his act from the side. Don't be fooled. That is a considerably difficult technique. The three of them chatted like this all the way. It wasn't until Pu Shiyu reached the dormitory building that he bid them farewell. After the original male lead had walked far away, the speculator suddenly spoke up. Did you come to the training ground today for something specific? She almost forgot she hadn't dealt with the male lead here yet. She immediately pretended to be angry. Of course I came to train. Do I look like a student who would slack off on the very first day? Luo Yuhan was stunned by her sudden approach, his cheeks instantly turning beet red, unable to even speak a complete sentence. No, not that meaning. Everyone usually rests first on the first day, right? But Yuhan, didn't you come out too? Jiang Naxian had long guessed he would ask this. In the original work, only Pu Shiyu and Luo Yula were supposed to appear today. He was definitely curious why she was present. And since she would rely on Luo Yuhan to build connections in the future, she absolutely couldn't let him become suspicious. To be honest, I didn't plan to come train on the first day either. But thanks to you, I changed my mind. The speculator was taken aback. Because I saw you actively helping classmates answer questions in the classroom earlier, I thought I needed to improve myself sooner too. Thinking about it, the only thing I could do was come to the training ground to practice. Seeing Luo Yuhan's expression soften slightly. She struck while the iron was hot, smiling obediently. This is all thanks to you. Although it's a bit embarrassing to say so. By the way, you came to the training ground today to improve yourself sooner too, right? Yuan, you're really amazing. Although I don't know what the situation was with that girl just now. That I believe that the Yuhan I see is a good person. These words worked effectively. The suspicion on Luo Yuhan's face completely disappeared. He even actively suggested practicing together tomorrow. Jiang Naxian smiled until her face almost cramped. But for the children at the orphanage, what was a little hardship like this? Hard work pays off. Ever since exchanging contact information with Pu Shiyu on the first day and under Luo Yuhan's proposal, this original male lead started training with them 3 days ago, and his training was going very smoothly. The speculator gave him quite a few suggestions. Developing like this for the upcoming dungeon mission, he would definitely be able to join smoothly. It was just that for some reason, from that day on, he could always feel Luo Yula's gaze. Moreover, that domineering young lady that seemed to be getting closer and closer to him. The puppy girl finally welcomed her combat debut. Unexpectedly, the villain who was supposed to partner with the original male lead in the novel actually abandoned the top combat power and chose to team up with her. Just as Jiang Naxian was preparing to select a weapon, Luo Yuhan suddenly stopped her. The one on the left is better. Your class has access to all firearms anyway. Plus, for today, take one with a shorter barrel. Knowing this guy wouldn't make casual suggestions, she went along with his idea. Thought to see what exactly he was planning. After getting the gun, she turned to look at him. Yuan, have you chosen your equipment? Jiang Naxian's soft, cute appearance of unconditional trust put Luo Yuhan in a great mood. Of course, after all, his class's starting equipment only consisted of one type of weapon. The adaptability test was the first assessment for prospective hunters. Pu Shiyu cleared all the targets almost instantly, his movements so fluid that even his breathing rhythm didn't falter in the slightest. Luo Yuan immediately praised loudly. Amazing Pu Shiyu. Even though the original male lead was this powerful, there wasn't a hint of jealousy in his eyes, only pure appreciation. As expected of the protagonist, the light attribute is simply monster level. Especially his skill, 1,000 soldiers, 10,000 weapons, which allows him to manipulate any weapon as nimbly as if it were at his fingertips. I really want to see him draw that sword on his back soon. But Luo Yula, passing by Pu Shiyu, glared fiercely at him. Her gaze was so ferocious it looked like she wanted to eat someone. Not long ago, she had just separated from Jiang Naxian. Sniper is one of the hardest classes to cultivate. Not only does it consume time and money, but the success rate is also extremely low. But with Jiang Naxian, he had full confidence in molding her into a top-tier range damage dealer. I have a problem, which is that Luo Yula mistakenly thinks I'm toying with Jiang Naxian. It was only because before the transmigration, the original owner of this body seemed to have seriously hurt others. But he had absolutely no clue what that bastard Luo Yuan had done before. If he didn't resolve this quickly, Forget about farming favorability. He might actually die at Luo Yula's hands. The damage dealer test ended, followed immediately by the tanks. Finally, it was the support's turn. Although Luo Yuan was in a support role, he found facing immobile targets really boring. He raised his hand and proposed, "Instructor, I request a change in the evaluation method." His class was Commander. As the name implies, it's a support role that formulates tactics and tips the battle into a favorable situation. But in this other world where damage output reigns supreme, this class had a poor reputation because it couldn't fight on the front lines. Yet, it was a unique class capable of shaking up the entire situation. Game players could learn this common knowledge from guides, but the people here didn't have that kind of understanding. Then I'll just have to show everyone just how important the position of commander is. The instructor found the proposal interesting and agreed to change the test to a duel. Hearing that Luo Yuan was looking for an opponent, the shield bearers competed for the duel slot just to beat him up. Someone even threatened to cut him down. "I didn't expect you to be so popular," the instructor teased Luo Yuan dryly. He asked, "Can I choose the opponent myself?" After receiving permission, he immediately looked toward Class D. "That big guy, you're up." The blue-haired guy grinned. "Very confident, aren't you, young master? Targets are easier to hit the bigger they are anyway." "You bastard." Ignoring Blue Hair's angry curse, he nodded to the instructor. "I made my choice." When it was time to choose a teammate, everyone thought he would pick a powerhouse of the same level from Class D. But Luo Yuan walked straight behind Jiang Naxian. Luo Yula and Pu Shiyu's expressions changed instantly, because there was a full two-tier difference between Class S and Class D. Jiang Naxian looked full of worry. "Yuan, is this really okay?" He raised his hand and patted the girl's head. "Trust me." He didn't tell Jiang Naxian that he deliberately chose Class D to fight against. However, the girl's worried look for him was really too cute. Thinking this, he walked towards Blue Hair. The opponent mocked. "Shouldn't a support just hide in the back and wander around?" Luo Yuan silently activated his Eye of Insight. Although the opponent in front of him couldn't compare to Pu Shiyu, he was already at an upper middle standard within Class D. Excellent. This was exactly the opponent he was looking for. Blue Hair, angry at not getting a response, attacked first out of humiliation. With Luo Yuhan's paper-thin physique, just one hit would end the match. But that was assuming he could be hit. Luo Yuan easily sidestepped the attack. Blue Hair was startled at first, then cursed angrily, "You rat-like guy." He curled the corners of his mouth, his smile full of wickedness. "You're really too slow." The opponent was so angry, he was practically hopping. "You guy, that was just luck just now." Luo Yuan and Blue Hair's agility stats were similar, but the opponent was wearing heavy armor, so his movements were inevitably a bit sluggish. But just that tiny difference was enough. Where he would strike, how he would move, he had already seen through it all with the Eye of Insight. Dodging these attacks was as easy as turning over his hand. Before long, Blue Hair's stamina was bottoming out. "You," Luo Yuan deliberately provoked. "Finished already?" "Big guy." This frivolous appearance enraged the opponent once again. He roared, "I'm going to kill you," and rushed at him like a madman. Luo Yuan dodged nimbly, his tone mocking. "Oh my, how scary. But haven't you forgotten something?" The opponent suddenly remembered. Luo Yuan had a teammate, but it was too late. A precise shot hit his right hand. Luo Yuan looked towards Jiang Naxian, his eyes full of praise. Her shooting proficiency was indeed higher than he imagined. It was just that a government-subsidized awakener shouldn't have touched a gun before. Was it talent? But there was no time to think about anything else right now. He temporarily suppressed his doubts. He turned his head and continued to provoke. "What? Didn't you say you were going to kill me just now?" Blue Hair's eyes changed completely, and this was exactly the moment he was waiting for. The shield bearer's ultimate skill, Berserk. If he and Jiang Naxian were facing this alone, this skill would probably be impossible to break through even if they fought to the death. But as long as there was Jiang Naxian's mechanical bonus, coupled with his enhancement, the result would be completely different. The Berserk Blue Hair charged over, wrapped in energy that seemed capable of destroying heaven and earth. At the same time, Jiang Naxian also entered a skill-boosted state. Under his enhancement, even an F rank could defeat a D rank by jumping levels. Victory would be his. But the battle came to an abrupt halt. The instructor stopped their attack. "Enough. That's it. The assessment for the commander is sufficient." Jiang Naxian lowered her gun. The heart she'd been holding in her throat finally settled. This bastard had indeed planned it from start. That's why he helped her choose a weapon. Would it kill him to say something in advance? She remembered that in the novel, the one teaming up with Luo Yuan was Pu Shiyu. Where did he get the confidence to leave fighting a dear rank to her? What a gambler and masochist. Sensing Luo Yuan's gaze, Jiang Naxian snapped back to reality. Now wasn't the time for wild thoughts. She immediately pounced on him. And gave Luo Yuan a big bear hug, her tone cheerful. Yuan, we won against Class D. It's all thanks to your tactics. Now, it was her turn to harvest original points. But Luo Yuan suddenly froze. Jiang Naxian quickly sensed something was wrong. Wait, what was with this deafening heartbeat? Was this guy so innocent that he couldn't handle just touching a girl? He was the absolute male lead in a male-oriented harem novel. Yet at this moment, he was rooted to the spot by a hug. After the girl discovered he was actually this innocent, a sense of revenge instantly welled up, and he still dared to touch her head all the time with this level of experience. It wasn't until the instructor cleared his throat to break the ambiguity, amidst the jeering from all around, that she moved away from him with a blushing face. She secretly felt it was bad. Teasing this guy was just too fun. She accidentally went overboard. Looking at the newly added original points in the system, she should have been happy, but inexplicably, a trace of awkward disgust arose. Fortunately, the comments for this test were pretty good. Right now, only Luo Yuan's perspective from the enrollment day remained unseen. She suppressed her shame and clicked on that plot segment. Enrollment day. The protagonist Pu Shiyu met Luo Yula at the training ground. This was the first plot event of the original game. He had already watched it hundreds of times. Initially, he planned to insert himself into their storyline and build a good relationship with Pu Shiyu. But what was this tea-colored light in front of him? Jiang Naxian, a character who had never appeared in the game at all. Why would this guy stand on his side? She even wanted to protect him in front of Luo Yula. A strange feeling welled up in his heart. After all, he had only ever received hostile glares. But luckily, because of her joining in, Pu Shiyu was successfully drawn out. If there was any problem, it was that the original plot had been changed. He had to figure out the reason for this variable's appearance. But looking at this girl with a puppy face pretending to be angry, he actually found it somewhat cute. He even accidentally went along with her words. Was she really here to train? If she wasn't the variable, but then could the variable be someone else? Just as his thoughts were in chaos, Jiang Naxian suddenly said something unexpected. Wait, if you put it that way. Could it be that the variable was himself? Because he took different actions, it affected the character Jiang Naxian. The girl's eyes were written full of trust. Just because of a little kindness, she completely trusted him. She even stood up to confront Luo Yula. Truly like a fool. But this feeling of being trusted was actually quite nice. It even made him feel that perhaps he could try trusting someone for once. However, what needed to be said still had to be made clear. By the way, that girl just now was my younger sister. Sure enough, the comments this time were almost all discussing him. It was just that the clips of him in the same frame as Pu Shiyu were all cut. They didn't even consider whose credit it was that they could chat so familiarly. Fortunately, she got quite a few original points, enough to upgrade attributes or skills. It was just that if she added points now, the male lead with the Eye of Insight would definitely notice. It was better to upgrade together when leveling up. Calculating the time, Luo Yuan was about to go to the first dungeon. After passing the weapon test, classmates bought exclusive weapons the very next day. They had been using the Academy's standard weapons before. This type of weapon didn't have high attack power and was only suitable for internal training. Mediocre and with no highlights. But the place they were going to in the future was a battlefield of life and death. So, exclusive weapons with attribute effects were a necessity. Any normal person would try every means to pursue an exclusive weapon. But Luo Yuan looked at Jiang Naxian, especially when he heard the girls say, "This weapon is very easy to use." He couldn't help but sigh weakly. To actually say such things. Was it really because she had no money to buy an exclusive weapon? It was time to go get the first hidden fragment anyway. He walked up to the girl. "Jiang Naxian, I'm going to the weapon shop. Let's look together." The girl agreed without any guard. Luo Yuan thought to himself, "I'll just let you owe me a favor and then sign a contract. She's so happy without knowing my intentions at all. I really feel a bit guilty." But Luo Yuan didn't know the girl was also calculating him. Jiang Naxian was waiting for exactly this moment. The speculator's proposal to go to the weapon shop together meant he had selected her as a teammate, becoming a member of his cultivation plan. She couldn't be grateful enough. Just like that, both of them thought they had taken a huge advantage. Even though she was mentally prepared, Jiang Naxian was still scared by the expensive prices of the weapons. Luo Yuhan smiled and explained, because these are weapons exclusively for awakeners. Seeing the time was right, he immediately started his performance. First, he sighed softly, putting on a look of worrying about money. Then he immediately shook his head. I have to think in a hard-working and positive direction. Finally, he raised his face and announced, I'm going to work hard to save money. Seeing the girl full of motivation, Luo Yuhan smiled with a meaningful look, and his large hand habitually rubbed her head again. So sensible. Jiang Naxian endured it. Can this bastard stop touching my head? I really want to pounce on him and bite him a few times. But the man's next sentence instantly brought joy to her brows. Maybe she would get it sooner than imagined. She pretended not to understand. Yeah, I have to work hard. By the way, Yuan, what are you here to buy? Hard to say. Let's look at guns first. Saying that, he picked up a gun to examine it carefully. It has a rapid-fire skill. Does it shoot multiple bullets spreading from one muzzle? Snipers rely on precision, so this kind of rapid-fire skill is actually a minus. Even with the same skill, specific characteristics vary by awakener, so you have to look closely at the weapon's attached skills. Jiang Naxian noted this down seriously. This was all useful information. He squatted down, pointing at an inconspicuous white gun in the corner. How about this one? It's a type specialized for reinforcing ammunition. Pretty good. Okay, I'll buy this for you. For me? Why? Although the puppy girl looked blank, she had already started thanking him in her heart. Yuan, you shouldn't spend money wildly like this. Unexpectedly, the man suddenly smiled wickedly. It's not for free. I have nothing to repay you with. You don't want my organs, do you? Luo Yuhan laughed out loud at her words. Jiang Naxian was already immune to this level of shame. Laugh all you want. Even she found those words funny. Unexpectedly, the other party leaned in close. It's not like that. I just want to ask you a favor. Actually, I need your skill. He paused. I'll tell you the details after you agree, but I can at least guarantee I won't let you fall into danger. Here it comes. Here it comes. Isn't this the positive set of values a heroine must possess? She put on a righteous face. Is it something that won't hurt people? As if infected by her, Luo Yuhan also became serious. It is something helpful to people. Okay, in that case, I promise you. She hugged the newly acquired gun tightly, feeling 1,000 emotions. This was her exclusive weapon. If this is the reward, please use me as much as you like in the future. Shortly after, Jiang Naxian received an extremely unequal treaty. No matter how you looked at it, this was a calculation against her, but she was willing, as long as she could get the gun. Seeing her sign, Luo Yuhan had the expression of someone who had caught a big fish. The smile at the corner of his mouth couldn't be hidden. He put away the contract and finally stated his purpose. Regarding the place we are going, it's a fixed dungeon within the academy. To save the innocent girl deceived by her brother, the original heroine, Eula, approached the puppy girl. But the girl didn't know that the person inside her brother's body had already changed. Luo Yuhan used gifting a weapon as an excuse to coax Jiang Naxian into signing a contract to raid the dungeon. Just as both were secretly smug about taking advantage of the other, Luo Yuhan's sister came looking for them. She walked straight up to Jiang Naxian, glared fiercely at Luo Yuhan, and said to her, "Let's go out and talk." Amidst the speculator's smile of unconcern, she nervously followed the young miss out. Jiang Naxian thought she would face Eula's wrath. Unexpectedly, the girl just looked at her with a face full of sorrow and whispered that she couldn't believe her brother would become good. It turned out the original Luo Yuhan was a bastard who wantonly played with human hearts and loved controlling others. Jiang Naxian finally realized why everyone's attitude toward him wasn't just simple dislike, but hatred. Regarding spending money to buy people and treating them as tools, there was only one exception. Just like how he was treating her now. He had once spent great effort to get close to someone, after the other party became completely dependent on him and obeyed him in everything. He cut off all that person's human relationships. Because that child was too innocent, they eventually died in despair. Eula's voice trembled. She lowered her head, full of guilt. I lost a friend just like that. Sorry, I investigated your situation. It's a difficult situation that even Luo Yuhan, who was kicked out of the family, can easily control. I'm the one who truly hopes he can change, because I don't want to see anyone else die because of him. The original work didn't mention Luo Yuhan's past in detail. So when he, who should have been expelled, suddenly became a prominent figure in the academy, Luo Yula, who couldn't accept it, made many readers feel she was stubborn and mean. But behind this, such a heavy past was hidden. However, she couldn't say that Luo Yuhan had been swapped. Moreover, that guy had been following them since just now. Given such karma, her relationship with Luo Yuhan touched Luo Yula's sore spot. That's why she was so troubled. But she couldn't stay away from the current Luo Yuhan. After a long time, Jiang Naxian finally spoke up. I know it's hard for you to believe you will change. I can't prove it right now either. You said you investigated my situation, right? I have seen too many people who want to desperately protect something even if they die. Therefore, I know better than anyone what their eyes look like. Just like yours right now. So I can't think you were lying. She knew this seemingly strong young miss was actually soft and kind inside. So she didn't want Yula to charge around recklessly and end up hurt alone. But if the Yuhan I met is faking it, how sad would that be? So I want to try trusting him. Trusting that Yuhan is no longer someone who hurts others. Then, how about this time, Yula, you protect me? If Yuhan really hasn't changed, Yula will teach him a lesson in my place. But if he really has become better, let's persuade him to truly repent together. At that time, I will join in too. Yula said with a trembling voice, Are you a fool? That young miss, who was arrogant to the extreme in the original work, now had red rims around her eyes, and tears fell uncooperatively, saying such silly words so righteously. You are really too naive, trusting others so easily. Jiang Naxian smiled even more gently. Having such a strong and smart Yula worry about me, I'm really happy. Yula wiped away her tears. Okay, leave it to me. I will protect student Naxian, because I won't make the same mistake again. Jiang Naxian thought to herself, perhaps it's a good thing the speculator occupied Luo Yuhan's body, because just as Yula hoped, Luo Yuhan would never harm people again. Regardless, this was already the best solution she could think of. Yula waved her fist, saying she would protect her from her brother's demonic claws. Seeing her full of motivation, Jiang Naxian wondered if she was too excited, but it didn't matter. She looked so good when she smiled, as long as she was happy. Footsteps came from ahead. Jiang Naxian looked closely. It was Luo Yuan. He pretended to have an accidental encounter. Jiang Naxian immediately stepped forward to remind him to go to the training ground after school. But unexpectedly, Yula was going too. The speculator raised an eyebrow. You want to train with me? No way. Yula pulled Jiang Naxian into her arms. I am going to protect student Naxian. I'm training with her. Don't you think about playing any tricks. Under Luo Yuhan's strange gaze, Yula agreed to meet after school and turned to leave. The speculator's voice carried an indescribable sourness and also seemed like a probe. Have you become close? Your relationship is really good. Jiang Naxian calculated in her heart. Better to pretend I don't know for now. She responded with a smile. Yula is originally a good child. According to the setting, he shouldn't know he was being followed right now. It was better to reveal this matter after confirming Luo Yuhan's perspective. When they pushed open the classroom door, the two suddenly realized they were late for class. And it happened to be the class of the strictest teacher. Late together. You two really have some nerve. Tell me why you're only arriving now. Regarding the revelation of the original Luo Yuhan's sins and her handling of the original heroine, Jiang Naxian had anticipated receiving praise from readers. But she didn't expect the original points to double. Not only that, but a new function was unlocked. She could view story fragments through the appearing parts. When she clicked it, the screen switched to Luo Yuhan's perspective. After listening for a long time, he suddenly snapped back to reality after hearing Naxian's words. The girl's words neither rejected Luo Yula's request, nor did they seem to completely distinguish the past Luo Yuhan from the current him. That guy doesn't know Luo Yuhan has changed people at all, yet she says she believes in such a person. Luo Yuhan felt as if a stone was pressing on his heart. When Luo Yula said Jiang Naxian was a fool, he agreed with Luo Yula's words for the first time. Stupid, naive, easy to use. This was his view of Jiang Naxian in the past. Is it because this is a game world? There would absolutely never be someone like her in reality. He looked at the falling leaves dancing in the wind, the sunlight spilling through the gaps in the leaves, and the dazzling moments amidst the interplay of light and shadow. He whispered, Thank you. Thank you for being willing to trust me. Thank you for seeing the current me. Because of Jiang Naxian, Luo Yuhan felt a brand new emotion for the first time. This world was completely different from the reality he lived in. It was truly too beautiful. The cat girl in the tree slightly wagged her tail. her eyes full of interest. It turned out there was more than one eavesdropper. The mixed blood cat bee-skin controlling the wind should be Choi Sujing. No wonder the wind blew so fittingly when she was talking to Eula. According to the original novel's progress, she would only become interested in the speculator after the midterm exams. She really didn't know if appearing this early was good or bad. At this moment, Luo Yuhan suddenly walked to her side and whispered a complaint. The school actually punishes lateness with cleaning duty. There's still some time before class ends. How about we rest for a bit? Jiang Naxian immediately decided to explain the matter about Eula to him now. Yan, actually, I heard about the bad things you did before. But even if those are all true, I still want to believe in the gentle you of right now. So, I asked Eula to also look at how you've changed. These words happen to explain Eula's abnormal behavior just now. Luo Yuhan's reaction was somewhat plain. Is that so? He nodded. Really? I thought my sister finally cared about her brother. No, Eula has always cared about you. Luo Yuhan waved his hand. She only cares about negative news. At this moment, he, who was about to leave, suddenly stopped. He turned back. She looked over with a question. Luo Yuhan actually bent down and pressed towards her, until the two were extremely close. Jiang Naxian's heartbeat accelerated instantly. But isn't this too close? The strongest squad from the original work finally assembled. The first cooperative battle was about to begin. But our puppy girl wasn't very happy, because Luo Yuhan always did unnecessary things to her. Just like now, the man suddenly approached her softly. The distance between the two was close enough to feel each other's breathing. Unexpectedly, in the next second, his hand that was originally reaching for her cheek suddenly changed direction and landed straight on the top of her head. She was patted on the head again and again. Yuan, what are you doing? The man chuckled low, his tone full of doting. Really cute. Jiang Naxian felt unwell all over. Can he put away these rotten flirting tricks? Okay, but to maintain the sunny puppy persona, she had to force a shy appearance. Teacher, please grant her super strong endurance. Let her not throw a punch at the speculator. After class, they arrived at the training ground as agreed. Luo Eula and Pu Shiyu had been waiting there for a long time. The young miss was as sharp-tongued as ever. Student Naxian seems to have some trash stuck next to her. Luo Yuan paused. You're not talking about me, are you? Oh my, trash can actually speak. At the critical moment, Shiyu stepped in. If everyone is here, let's go to the training field. At this moment, he suddenly noticed something stuck to Eula's back. Seeing it was a few red hairs, Eula went crazy. That stinking cat. But when he asked what cat it was, Eula covered it up in a panic. The only cat that could make Eula so disgusted was none other than Choi Sujing. Sure enough, the Catwoman was nearby. As soon as she landed, Eula's fur stood on end. What are you doing here? I was looking for people to train with. I just happened to see familiar faces. Don't look at me like this. I've always trained seriously. Eula's face clearly wrote, I don't believe it. Although Jiang Naxian agreed with Eula's thoughts, her persona couldn't collapse. She took a step forward and said with a smile, of course you can. Shiyu immediately chimed in. After all, the more companions, the better. What's wrong, sister? Aren't you also cutting in halfway? One more person isn't a problem. Luo Yuhan's thoughts were practically written on his face. He looked at the Catwoman. Name is Choi Sujing. You are Luo Yuhan, right? I've seen the adaptability test results, so I know. After speaking, Sujing suddenly hugged Luo Yuan. Please take care of me from now on. The puppy girl's eyes widened, as expected of a heroine candidate. So bold. But why were Sujing's eyes constantly circling around her? And the hugged Luo Yuan had long frozen in place, like a statue. Fortunately, Shiyu stepped in again. I know you are happy, but I hope you can restrain yourself a bit on the way to training. The Catwoman smiled and let go. I was joking. Look, our original male lead is still the reliable one. Unexpectedly, the Catwoman changed the subject. Sorry, Naxian. No need to apologize to me. Sujing blinked. Aren't you and Yuhan dating? Standing in the distance, Eula's ears instantly perked up. Her eyes breathed fire, and she roared as she started her ultimate move. Who is dating whom? After the chaos, the group finally arrived at the training field. Pu Shiyu set up the portal to start the mock battle. He suggested starting with a protruding type portal. Luo Yuhan insisted on going to fixed type. That fixed type is rare to begin with. Since the personnel are all gathered, training in a monster nest makes more sense. Luo Yuhan suddenly looked at Jiang Naxian. But isn't there someone who is contacting a portal for the first time? This sounded like he was worried about her, the newbie. But in reality, it was because he wanted to obtain hidden fragments and wanted to train her in advance to get familiar with dungeons. Portals in the other world were roughly divided into two types. One was the protruding type that could only be closed by eliminating all monsters. The other was the fixed type where a dungeon existed inside. Fixed types could often produce hidden fragment rewards. The speculator, who knew the plot well, planned to only raid main storyline dungeons to collect fragments. But most portals near the tower were protruding types. What truly threatened the world were the monster tides within them. As the world destruction plot advanced, the outbreak range of protruding portals would also constantly expand. Stopping all this was precisely the duty of hunters. So, just as Shiyu said, there was no need to be obsessed with a fixed type. This was the first time Jiang Neixian did not stand on the speculator's side. Is it protruding type training? I have no problem. Eula's tone was worried. Is it really okay? Of course. According to the original works development, the speculator would clear the dungeon tonight. She joined unexpectedly, so she couldn't affect his plan at all. Moreover, with her current strength, if she wanted to truly become a member of the squad, she had to give it her all. For this goal, she even imitated the heroine. What couldn't she do? Even if she couldn't, she had to. At this moment, a strange gaze came over. Jiang Neixian looked up and saw Shiyu standing in the backlight, watching her with an unclear expression. Neixian, Eula's voice suddenly sounded. It's starting. When she looked back again, Shiyu had already turned around. She thought the other party had something to say. As the simulation training finished loading, the training field instantly changed appearance. The monster tide officially began. A large number of monsters swarmed out from the sky and the ground. A stream of light flashed past. The golden core on a certain monster's head was instantly shattered. Although it was a mock battle, it was almost no different from a real monster tide. Luo Yuan was quite surprised. He didn't expect Jiang Neixian to hit the flying monster's core with one shot, although it was regrettable that it wasn't a fixed type instance. Perhaps he could have more expectations for this training. Following Luo Yuan's command, everyone took their positions. Eula attacked first. She leaped high, flames condensed in her right fist. With a boom, she smashed ruthlessly onto the defensive monster below. The armor shattered instantly. Just as she leaped back, Jiang Neixian's attack followed immediately. The bullet precisely destroyed the monster's core. After a loud bang, the monster crashed to the ground. Eula had also returned to the team. Really fierce. Luo Yuan got excited too. He issued instructions again. Next, Mage, use wind magic to drive the monsters. Just like that, the Catwoman was responsible for containment. Jiang Neixian cooperated with Eula to complete the final blow. Soon, the surrounding monsters were cleaned up. Luo Yuan raised the corners of his mouth. This training went much smoother than he expected. Choi Sujing with large-scale attack capabilities. Luo Eula with powerful single-hit damage. Jiang Neixian, who relied on strengthening skills to balance main output and support. The three of them clearly hadn't honed their skills together, yet their coordination was exceptionally tacit. Moreover, looking at Pushiyu, that guy, he was even more capable of fighting against many alone. It had only been a few days, yet his skill in controlling the 1,000 weapons and myriad auras had become increasingly proficient. What a monster! To be honest, this training far exceeded his expectations. Relying on these people to form a team directly was completely credible, as long as he nurtured them well. Jiang Neixian spoke up, "Oh my, is it that amazing?" Everyone cooperated really well under Yuhan's command. Maybe we can break the record for the fastest clear. The first phase isn't even over. It's too early to be at ease now. Under normal circumstances, dealing with a monster nest requires multiple teams to attack jointly. After all, the number of monsters is definitely not something a single team can handle. Suddenly, a monster broke free from Catgirl's restraints. It charged straight toward Jiang Neixian in the rear. Jiang Neixian immediately raised her gun and fired. But after the bullet hit the core, it actually bounced off. She only then realized with a start that her mana was already exhausted. Luo Yuhan's expression changed instantly. The three-person squad began to raid the dungeon. The little dog girl was about to face a new transformation. Catgirl's mistake caused the battle situation, which was already in the bag, to take a sharp turn for the worse. Jiang Neixian's mana was exhausted. Seeing that she couldn't stop the monster, Luo Yuan instantly blocked in front of her, using mana to put up a shield. But having just used a strengthening skill, his remaining mana couldn't support it for long at all. Eula was firmly pinned down by monsters. Just at the moment the shield was about to shatter, a figure wrapped in intense mana sped over, and killed the monster with a single slash. It was Pu Shiyu who arrived in time. As the monster dissipated, the system prompt suddenly rang out. The lower city dungeon opened its second phase. Luo Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. As expected of the male lead, that terrifying reaction speed. Eula rushed to the little dog girl immediately, pulling her up with concern. But Luo Yuan had already adjusted the combat plan instantly. Phase 2. Exclude Jiang Neixian who cannot fight. Change to a 3-person output formation. Pu Shiyu attracts aggro in the front. Choi Sujing and Luo Eula support from the back. Everyone in position. Phase 2 is starting immediately. Jiang Neixian couldn't accept it for a moment. Yuan, I can still fight. Your mana is already exhausted. You're of no use now. Rest. Luo Yuan, who was extremely rational in formulating tactics, did not notice Jiang Neixian's abnormality. Although he had mana potions, he thought using them in a mock battle was too wasteful. As soon as the thought fell, the second phase had already begun. Luo Yuan enter command mode. Luo Eula, first control the assault-type vanguard. Shiyu, deal with the small mobs in one go. Watch out for the monster gathering on the left. However, they still fell into a bitter struggle. Without Jiang Neixian support, signs of collapse first appeared in the area Choi Sujing was responsible for. Although unwilling, the result was already set in stone. They still failed. What a pity. If we persisted a bit longer, we could have passed the second phase. Eula was furious. Isn't it all because you were breached that Neixian was judged dead? Luo Yuan interjected. I died along with her, okay? The little dog girl's eyes turned red. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. The eldest young lady instantly panicked. No, how can we blame Neixian? On the contrary, thanks to you, we were able to last that long. Shiyu also hurriedly chimed in to comfort her. That's right. It's hard to believe you're a novice. Only Luo Yuan remained silent. Cat Girl suddenly lowered her voice. That child doesn't know what kind of talent she has at all, right? Being so innocent, she's easily used by people. What do you think? Luo Yuan chuckled softly, casting his gaze toward Jiang Neixian not far away, while his mouth said, who knows? In his heart, he was already calculating. Of course, I have to use her well. Theoretically, with her stats, she should have exhausted her mana in the first half of the first phase. Her 100 shots, 100 hits, is a passive skill that increases hit rate. But even if it's passive, it consumes mana based on the degree of hit rate correction. Plus, she continuously used enchanted bullets. Under normal circumstances, she couldn't have fired more than a few shots, but she managed to last that long. Long enough that he forgot to monitor her remaining mana. This could only mean Jiang Neixian's own hit rate is ridiculously high. So high that 100 shots, 100 hits consumes almost no mana. This is pure talent. Why on earth did a guy like this never appear in the main storyline? Regardless, he unexpectedly discovered a hidden gem. Tonight is destined to be worth looking forward to. Senior, Luo Yuan suddenly changed his address to Catgirl. Are you interested in a real portal experience? While he was observing Jiang Neixian was also keeping an eye on him. It seems this guy plans to drag Catgirl into the portal tonight. But speaking of which, my stats really are a problem. They're actually this bad. Bullets without mana can't even scratch a monster's core. Don't feel pressured by the result. Pu Shiyu's voice suddenly sounded. Seeing Jiang Neixian stunned, he added, it's precisely because we don't know what we'll encounter in actual combat that we need to cope through training. Besides, if you use mana potions, you definitely could have lasted longer. His blue eyes held no ripples, yet they were inexplicably reassuring. You've already done very well. Eula also immediately leaned over to comfort her, right? Mana will increase after leveling up. Neixian's strength is absolutely no problem. She had pretended to be depressed for the sake of her character persona, but they were comforting her with sincere feelings. They were truly kind. Compared to a certain speculator, it was simply a world of difference. To be honest, she wasn't entirely unmoved at the time. Even now, her hands, which had overused mana, were still trembling uncontrollably. But it didn't matter, as long as she could clear the portal tonight. The girl stood up abruptly. That's right, I have to work hard to level up. Jiang Neixian resumed her smile. Let's do our best together. Late at night, the girl popped out from the bushes. Sure enough, the curfew was just for show. No wonder the protagonist group in the original work ran around everywhere as soon as it was night. After disbanding in the afternoon, Luo Yuan told her that Catgirl would join the dungeon raid. Sujing's going too? Is that okay? Luo Yuan nodded. We just signed a contract. She won't be a burden. The little dog girl paused. Then a trace of disappointment welled up. If anyone is a burden, it should be me, right? Don't worry, you're the core of this raid. Seeing her so unconfident, Luo Yuhan sighed softly. I told you not to worry. Trust me. After gently patting her head, Jiang Naxian nodded with flushed cheeks. Sure enough, she's the type who likes head pats. Damn it. Looking at this entrance scene, Jiang Naxian's heart was fuming with anger. She didn't want to recall the head-patting episode at all. Because she could only read the stories where she appeared, she couldn't see what Luo Yuhan said to Sujing. But he probably used Sujing's secret to trick her. As for before the secret is revealed, she'd better pretend not to know. However, why do even the readers think the same way as Luo Yuan? One day, she was going to break that bastard's wrist. When she clicked on the next entrance scene, that guy's inner thoughts made her explode with rage even more. Jiang Naxian seems to care a lot, constantly stealing glances over here. Could it be she fell in love with me? Jiang Naxian's overwhelmed expression, looking like she's about to cry. Every sentence was enough to make her want to go shoot Luo Yuhan immediately. The comments started to have remarks favoring Choi Sujing, but that was nothing. She was aiming for a supporting role anyway. But immediately after, she was shocked by another type of comment. Why are there people shipping her and Luo Yula? As important characters appeared one after another, the reader's attention was no longer overly focused on her. This was certainly a good thing for her, but it also meant the origin points she could earn would decrease. So, in order to collect more points from the female leads who would appear in the future, she had to show the readers more shining points. Jiang Naxian decided to position her future as discovered by the speculator. The recollection ended there. The real dungeon finally arrived. But surprisingly, Luo Yuhan actually arranged for her to hunt outside the dungeon. Monsters from a fixed-type portal can only move within the dungeon and cannot see humans outside. But humans can enter and exit freely. The combat plan this time was, he and Sujing would attract monsters inside the dungeon. Jiang Naxian would be responsible for sniping from the outside. Come, give me your hand. Luo Yuhan placed a handful of mana potions into her palm. His gaze was certain. I said, you're the core of today's raid. So don't worry about mana this time. Fight boldly with peace of mind. The little dog girl's strength finally welcomed a qualitative leap. But Luo Yuhan chose this moment to offend Catgirl. He even nearly lost his life at her hands. In order to let Jiang Naxian level up quickly, Luo Yuhan took Catgirl into the dungeon to lure monsters, leaving her, the sniper, to guard the entrance. As soon as they entered the dungeon, Catgirl used magic to drag him into the air with her. Her method could be called rough. Of course, she did it on purpose. In an instant, monsters swarmed over. Because he had prepared bait in advance, Luo Yuhan crushed the core of a level 1 insect. The monsters inside the dungeon instantly became even more manic. The girl maintained her godlike shooting standard. One shot, one kill exploding the cores. But as the monsters continued to emerge endlessly, she immediately realized the speculator was up to something behind the scenes. This dog thing, he doesn't exert any effort himself and just messes around at will. Before long, even the dungeon entrance was packed tight with monsters. Although they couldn't rush out, their roars fiercely impacted Jiang Naxian's ears, awakening her. Past she didn't want to recall. At that time, she was still small. Monsters invaded the slums. The local armed forces followed a policy of better to kill 1,000 by mistake than let one go. Even innocent, ordinary people died, tragically at the hands of their compatriots. Monsters fell one after another. Jiang Naxian gritted her teeth to dispel the distracting thoughts. After a long time, the nearby monsters were finally cleared out. Yuhan, Sujing. Jiang Naxian's voice came over. The two looked toward the sound. Luo Yuhan's eyes widened instantly. Jiang Naxian's growth far exceeded his expectations. Level 15 sniper. Agility and mana both promoted to C rank. Luo Yuhan looked like he had turned stupid. The little dog girl waved her hand and called him Yuan. The girl was secretly smug in her heart. Be happy. This is the effect of me pouring most of my origin points into it. Seeing the fledgling he cultivated suddenly possess the agility and mana of a professional hunter, it must feel pretty good, right? She pretended to be concerned and asked, "What's wrong? Are you uncomfortable? Should we call it a day?" Luo Yuan then snapped back to reality. He looked excited. "I'm fine. Pack up. We're going to explore the interior of the dungeon immediately." The ground was scattered with densely packed monster cores. They collected the monster corpses together. "Nacian, you obtained the inventory skill, right?" Catgirl suddenly asked. "Yeah, how did you know?" "Actually, I can see the attribute panel." "She's lying to you." Luo Yuhan exposed her. All Awakeners automatically unlock the inventory skill after rank 2. So magical. How big is the capacity? It's not a concept of size. Based on level 1, you can put in 10 types of items, 100 of each. By the way, my inventory is level 10, so I can put in 100 types of items, 1,000 of each. So amazing, the girl praised with her mouth, but complained in her heart, "Isn't this just the legendary trash attribute of only leveling up the inventory?" Luo Yuan suddenly proposed, "Monster corpses can be put into the inventory hole. I'll take them to the exchange to sell, and then split the profits with everyone." So that was his idea. The group soon arrived at the dungeon. With Catgirl's magic buff, they avoided quite a few traps. Before long, a portal appeared before their eyes. This was completely different from what Jiang Nacian saw in the original work. In the original work, one only needed to walk here and get the item for it to end. It seems Luo Yuhan triggered a hidden quest in the game. Just then, a deep voice suddenly came from within the tower. "Continue the trial. Descendants who possess the bloodline of brave beasts." Jiang Nacian reacted instantly. Luo Yuan was using Choi Sujing, and this was precisely Catgirl's absolute landmine. Sure enough, Sujing demanded to withdraw from the dungeon on the spot. Jiang Nacian just wanted to smooth things over. When she saw Luo Yuhan say, recklessly, "All of this is within my expectations," these words instantly ignited Catgirl's anger. "Within expectations? Junior, is your brain really this lacking? I thought you understood my situation quite well. I understand your bloodline, and I know your past. That's why I brought you to this dungeon." Luo Yuan was still adding fuel to the fire. Jiang Nacian was so anxious she just wanted to cover his mouth. As expected, Sujing's anger grew even stronger. "So you want to die here? Wait a moment. Compared to fighting each other, isn't it a higher priority to go out and assess the situation first? We can't go out. The event has already happened. This game-addicted lunatic. Does he think he's still the kind of character who can resurrect casually?" Just as Catgirl activated her magic, and it looked like she was about to eliminate him, Luo Yuhan spoke again. "If you kill me now, Jiang Nacian and you, Senior, will also die here together. This is the Beast Temple. It's a place where beastmen inside the tower accept trials. The difficulty is not something the current us can easily pass. But I know the strategy guide. Senior, don't you have a reason you must live for?" Although still burning with anger, Catgirl withdrew her magic. "Then what do you plan to do?" Seeing his scheme succeed, Luo Yuan pointed to the front. "Do you see that door? The maze we're going next is the next level." Catgirl finally compromised. The rest of the journey was basically led by Luo Yuhan. After leveling up, he unlocked shared vision and could directly see Jiang Nacian's perspective. Relying on his clairvoyance skill, he could see distant trap prompts and even the beast text clearly. While praising him for being amazing, Jiang Nacian secretly ridiculed him. Apart from eating and sleeping, this guy probably spends all his time playing games. At this moment, she noticed Catgirl behind them looking annoyed. How should I address you? Call me whatever. I don't care about such small things." "Then how about Senior?" Catgirl accepted with a smile. "What Yuhan did this time counts as a bad thing, right? By my standards, it counts." The little dog girl lowered her voice again. "Then I'll help you teach him a lesson later. Eula will help too, so please don't worry too much." These words successfully pleased Sujing. She laughed loudly. "Oh my, are you worried about me? How cute. Thanks. Then when you and Eula teach that guy a lesson, take me along too." The little dog girl agreed decisively. After all, better him than me. While chatting, the three arrived at the reward room in the deepest part of the dungeon. It turned out the reward here could only be taken by someone with Beastman blood, and this reward was precisely the key item sword for the novel's main storyline. Sujing successfully obtained the item. The speculator's Chinibu attributes exploded again, but before he could let out two strange laughs, Catgirl threw the key directly into his face. Jiang Naxian hurriedly picked up the key. Yuan here. At the same time, the dungeon's exit also appeared. She said in surprise, so the exit is right behind the reward room. Dungeons are usually like this. Then today's raid was hard war. Before she could finish, he was grabbed by the collar by Catgirl. Junior, you haven't forgotten about deliberately provoking me just now, have you? The little dog girl's tears made the man panic instantly. He stepped forward in a panic, but didn't know how to comfort her. Luo Yuan, who treated this purely as a game world, didn't know how many years the girl had desperately worked to survive in this man-eating world. This has to start from the last dungeon. Because of Luo Yuan's repeated use, Catgirl was thoroughly angered. Facing the threat of death, he wasn't panicked at all. I have one more thing to trade with you, Senior. What are you up to now? Catgirl's tone was full of wariness. However, his next words made Catgirl freeze on the spot instantly. The binding magic around him also dissipated. She finally agreed through gritted teeth. It was just that Luo Yuan actually used an item to block the sound, so Jiang Naxian didn't hear the content of their transaction. The next day, as soon as the little dog girl stepped into the academy, she received an unprecedentedly warm welcome. It turned out that the news of their successful dungeon clear yesterday had already spread like wildfire through the school. Luo Yuan, putting on the airs of a king, saw her arrive and announced loudly, "The academy said that for the sake of clearing the dungeon, the matter of sneaking out at night is forgiven. But there's still a score to settle." Before he could finish, the classroom door was slammed open with a bang. "Luo Yuan, you bastard! Get out here right now." Unaware that his doom was approaching, he looked smug. "I'm right here, little sister. Are you impressed by your brother's hidden strength?" His answer was Luo Eula's iron fist. The little dog girl cheered in her heart. "Our Eula is amazing. You actually dared to forcibly drag those classmates to a portal in the middle of the night." Luo Yuan tried to argue. It wasn't forcibly, but Luo Eula didn't give him a chance to speak. Although she also felt relieved, due to her sunny persona, she could only advise Eula. She grabbed her hand. Luo Eula immediately dropped her brother and turned to hold her hand tightly, her tone full of anxiety. "Student Naxian, are you okay? That shameless bastard didn't try anything with you, did he? If I had known, I should have let you sleep in my dorm." As she spoke, Luo Eula carefully checked her all over. She hurriedly explained, "I'm fine. Yuan treated me very well. Besides, staying in someone else's dorm is against school rules. I'm really sorry I couldn't tell you in advance." Her appearance, 7 parts apologetic and 3 parts shy, instantly struck Luo Eula's heart. "It's not your fault. The one at fault is that bastard Luo Yuan." Luo Eula hugged her tightly, her voice no longer stingy with words, leaving only deep concern. "It's really great that those classmates are okay. Anyway, it's all Luo Yuan's fault. What if you had gotten hurt?" Although she still didn't let Luo Yuan off the hook, at least she didn't use any skills. Does this count as their relationship softening? Just as the thought arose, Luo Eula's mana suddenly surged around her. "Huh, I thought you really changed, but it turns out you just wanted to use people." Another round of beating began. She seemed to hear the sound of bones dislocating. It seemed she was overthinking the softening of the sibling relationship. In class, the teacher announced that the midterm exam would use a practical combat test, asking everyone to firmly remember the knowledge they had learned. The atmosphere in the classroom was relaxed and comfortable. The farce from last night seemed to have never happened. Even the practical combat teacher praised them as the Academy's twin stars. At lunch, the Catgirl naturally joined them. In this calm and peaceful atmosphere, it was hard to imagine that such difficult trials were waiting for them in the future. The novel The Academy's F-Class Commander tells the story of preventing the destruction of the world. Luo Yuan, the speculator who transmigrated into the game's villain, uses his vast knowledge of the game to run around trying to stop the overflow of calamity event that destroys the world. Jiang Naxian originally only planned to follow him initially to vent her anger and then prepare for the overflow of calamity on her own. However, because the origin system made her stay by the speculator's side, since that's the case, she might as well fully utilize the plot knowledge she possesses to maximize the value she can extract from him. The first thing to deal with is the attack incident during the midterm practical combat test. Besides, training with the speculator's team for a while is actually quite good. By the way, I only said half of it earlier. Everything we got from the dungeon and the underground city last time has been sold. We made quite a lot of money. a total of 3 billion. Hearing this number, Jiang Naxian's heart almost skipped a beat. She feigned calmness. Isn't that all yours, Yuan? We agreed back then. Luo Yuan smiled. The agreement was for me to handle it, but the distribution still has to follow the rules. Although the speculator in the novel is crazy about benefits and haggles over every penny, he would never shortchange his teammates. So his offer to share is definitely genuine. Can you give me your account number? We'll each take 1 billion. 1 billion might not be much to others, but to Jiang Naxian, it was indeed a huge sum that could fulfill the wishes of the younger brothers and sisters at the orphanage. It could buy the painting tools they liked, purchase a piano, and support them to study at their desired schools. Jiang Lu, who had been tormented by illness, could also receive better treatment. Most importantly, the director and teachers would no longer have to go around begging for sponsorships and looking at people's faces. Have you thought about what you do with a large sum of money? After the transfer, Luo Yuan asked casually, in a good mood. I think you could buy weapons you can use first. Jiang Naxian said softly, I plan to donate it. Luo Yuan froze instantly. Donate it? Although that's nice too. But right now, isn't it the time to strive to improve yourself? She knew the speculator definitely wanted her to use this money to strengthen herself, but she couldn't do it. Moreover, this guy would ask where the money went sooner or later, so it was better to make it clear now. There's a place that has taken care of me a lot, so I decided long ago that once I made big money, I'd donate it there immediately. Jiang Naxian convinced herself in her heart, it's fine. After all, I represent sunshine. Doing this should fit the character setting, right? Isn't that how you've always seen me? So please understand. Just treat it as a game character with this kind of setting and accept it. Anything else didn't matter, but on this one thing, she didn't want to yield. Even if he couldn't understand, Luo Yuan accepted it. Suit yourself. How you use your money is your freedom. Jiang Naxian finally let go of the worry in her heart. But Luo Yuan panicked. Why are you crying? He stepped forward helplessly, spinning around in anxiety, yet not daring to touch the girl. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell somewhere? Jiang Naxian was actually scared. Scared that Luo Yuan would turn hostile and take back the money, or suddenly abandon her as a teammate. After all, the protagonist of this world was him, not her. She wiped away her tears and smiled. Yuan, thank you. A thin layer of red instantly dyed Luo Yuhan's cheeks. Just as he was considering what to say, Luo Yula happened to arrive. Student Naxian, let's have dinner together. Seeing the little dog girl's red eyes, the young miss exploded instantly. Luo Yuan, you bastard. What did you do to Student Naxian? The speculator couldn't explain himself. I really didn't do anything. You still want to deny it to my face? Jiang Naxian hurriedly tried to mediate. Yula, I'm really fine. Years ago, Jiang Naxian had broken into the territory of the black scales alone. The woman behind the veil, though possessing an enchanting figure, radiated a dangerous aura. You little brat, you dare to talk big, saying you can solve my biggest problem? Her eyes were firm. Yes, I can identify Dopplers. The leader paused, then asked slowly, the condition for exchange is? Process citizenship for the teachers and children of our orphanage, and let them move to the safe zone. There's still quite a balance left. I'll grant you one more wish. The girl didn't hesitate at all. Then, please ensure that everyone in the orphanage I'm in never gets involved with criminal organizations. The woman chuckled lightly. Fine, but you are excluded. Souls from other worlds are always troublemakers. She is the most considerate reserve heroine in a male-oriented harem novel, always putting the male lead first, transmitting Mag's optimistic energy to her companions. Jiang Naxian thought she had played the role of the little son well enough, until the original male lead, Pu Shiyu, saw through everything. A piercing alarm woke the girl up. Only then did she realize that it was just a dream. The transaction with the black scales was a choice she was forced to make years ago to protect the orphanage. Thanks to reading the original novel, she had mastered the method to identify Dopplers. No problem, so far. Everything is developing in the direction I hoped for. Although the speculator's reaction yesterday concerned her a bit, as long as she could successfully increase her stats, there shouldn't be any unforeseen changes. Suddenly, she was attracted by the item at the very top. Jiang Naxian was shocked. Even something like this is possible? No matter what, let's try it first. Was her request that ridiculous? Then just cure Jiang Lu's illness? After countless failures, when she checked her origin points, she realized the points she held had decreased. This thing can drop? Doesn't that mean even if I save them, they might not be usable at a critical moment? What exactly went wrong? Is it because the reader response was bad? When she clicked on the comments, she realized she had messed up. It wasn't just bad. The character Jiang Naxian was almost drowned in negative reviews. Affected by this, she had no mind to listen to the class today. On the other hand, the speculator was listening with great interest, probably checking if the game settings matched his knowledge. In this class, the teacher talked about the past. One day, mysterious towers suddenly appeared in the capitals of countries around the world. Although the operating principles of these towers were a mystery, they all led to the same place. Clearing them would yield rich rewards. At that time, the International Raid Team Salvation, led by the hero Pu Shiyin, came into being. The members were humans who awakened supernatural powers around the same time, known as Awakeners. They overcame all obstacles and fought their way to the 333rd floor. This was the first time humanity encountered the other race. Fortunately, the two sides could understand each other's language, and after negotiation, decided to cooperate in clearing the tower. The other race also began to step out of the tower to communicate with humans. However, when they reached the 666th floor, as part of the truth about the tower surfaced, the relationship between the two sides completely ruptured. The tower operated on human desire. As long as desire existed, the tower would be endless. The other race made a demand to humans: stop creating more monsters and stop clearing the tower. Because the monsters invading the residential areas inside the tower had been causing damage to the other race. The other race began to oppose humans, and war broke out. Eventually, humanity chose to seal the tower. However, the peace only lasted for a few decades. Portals began to appear around the tower. This building, once called the Tower of Babel or the Tower of God, after the incident on the 666th floor, was uniformly named the Tower of Desire. Nowadays, the range of portals is constantly expanding. Human settlements are divided into danger zones, intermediate zones, and safe zones. The orphanage is currently in a safe zone, but if the calamity really spreads, it won't escape either, so she must find a way as soon as possible. If worst comes to worst, even if she has to trade with the Black Scales again, she won't hesitate. But before that, there's a character she must meet. She looked at Luo Yuan. The name was written on his notebook, the Oracle. The Oracle is a character introduced in the middle of the novel. He is the creator of the game the speculator played, and also the instigator who brought his soul from the other world. The hero might have been brought by him too. In a novel, the Oracle constantly provides information and help to the speculator, acting as his guide. But precisely because his identity is too suspicious, many readers were furious at this frustrating plot point. Her behavior yesterday was likely categorized as this type as well, which is why origin points were deducted. So stupid. I should have thought rationally, but I ruined everything on an impulse. Before salvaging the reader's evaluation, she must not mention a word about the orphanage. She knew this was necessary and objectively the most correct choice, but she just wasn't reconciled to it. I can't think wildly anymore. Observing the situation first, maintaining screen time and reputation, and accumulating origin points is the key. For the family at the orphanage, I'm willing to do anything. Personal will isn't needed here. I just need to play the role well. A character who always puts the speculator first and has no frustrating plot lines. Inside the dungeon, after Eula killed several assault-type monsters in a row, a monster in the air suddenly launched a surprise attack on her. At the critical moment, a gunshot rang out. The golden core on the monster's head was blown apart. Jiang Naxian ended the third phase of the dungeon. Eula rushed over and hugged her. Student Naxian, the timing of your last shot was simply perfect. Really? Wasn't a bit late? How could it be late? Not at all. At this rate, you'll definitely become a renowned hunter. Jiang Naxian felt warm inside. Eula was always so tolerant of her. It's just a pity Senior Sujing still didn't come. Eula let go of her. After all, she always does things her own way. Jiang Naxian thought to herself, she's probably so angry at this guy that she doesn't want to come. At this moment, Luo Yuan said, let's take a break. Everyone's mana is almost bottoming out. She actively suggested, then I'll go buy some drinks. Eula blinked. Then I'll go too. No need. You rest well. Only after walking far away did Jiang Naxian relax slightly. Maintaining the sunny persona seemed exceptionally exhausting today. She arrived in front of the vending machine. Yuan wants cola. Eula wants this. Suddenly, a voice that absolutely shouldn't be there sounded from behind. Can I chat with you for a bit? It was actually Pu Shiyu. When the two sat on the bench, Pu Shiyu fell into silence. Jiang Naxian had to speak first. What do you want to talk about? Pu Shiyu looked hesitant, nervously gripping his water bottle. Sorry, I was just thinking about how to say it. It's okay. It seems Shiyu is very prudent. The girl smiled even more brightly, but Pu Shiyu's eyes were full of worry. He chose his words carefully. Did something happen, perhaps? Are you asking if I've encountered anything unpleasant? Lately, it's been all good things. My friends recognized me, and my mana has become stronger. Also, I'll tell you a secret. Actually, I made a lot of money too. Pu Shiyu tightened the corners of his mouth, as if enduring something. He suddenly looked up. That's not what I'm talking about. But seeing the girl's brilliant smile, he swallowed the words on the tip of his tongue. If you don't want to say it, I won't force you. He paused, hiding a trace of imperceptible sadness in his eyes. But I want to tell you about someone I know very well. It's the story of a fallen hero. He hid all his emotions behind a piled-up smile, as if wearing an impeccable mask. Yet, there was one person who could pierce through this disguise and see his truth. Jiang Naxian never imagined that, besides her family, the first person to truly feel heartache for her would be the male lead in the original work. It was the squad leader, Hero Pu Shiyan. He was an impeccable leader. Precisely because of this excellence, people entrusted all the most critical missions to him. Even if there were occasional twists in the mission process, he could always bring it to a perfect conclusion, until that truth capable of overturning the entire world was exposed. He was actually a hero who operated by devouring human desires. The noble mission he had practiced all his life was actually personally hurting his companions and destroying the land they protected. People's attitudes reversed instantly. Former admiration turned into sharp accusations. The hero of the past became a sinner, and Pu Shiyan also fell into endless self-blame. His entire life was firmly imprisoned by a lingering sense of guilt. These heavy past events were never mentioned in the original novel. Jiang Naxian only then realized that things were far from as simple as sealing the tower. Pu Shiyu said softly, but that old man who shouldered everything always had a gentle smile in front of his grandson. But the grandson knew better than anyone. That grandma always hid a sorrow in her heart that couldn't be wiped away. He stopped, as if to suppress some strange emotion. After a moment, he continued, I've seen too many people like that, who clearly want to cry, but force a smile. So I understand very well what kind of expression those people make. No matter how much you try, there will always be situations you can't control. So don't blame yourself too much. Occasionally asking friends for help isn't a bad thing. After speaking, he turned to look at Jiang Naxian, but crashed into the girl's soft eyes. He suddenly turned his head away. A blush instantly climbed up to the roots of his ears and spread to his entire face. Jiang Naxian indeed received comfort from his words. Yeah, it only dropped 10 points. She was being too anxious. Besides, didn't they grow back already? She had already done her best. Even if she tried hard, there was no helping things she couldn't do. As long as I continue to look for methods and work harder and more cautiously, it'll be fine. Thinking this, she looked at Pu Shiyu. She said softly, thank you. Seeing the girl recover her spirits, Pu Shiyu smiled too. What was that? Did you chat with me because you were worried about me? Our Shiyu is so gentle, truly a shining humanity, an outstanding character. The man blushed and didn't dare to look at her. It's nothing big. If you have troubles, you can tell me any time too. After all, we are friends. Hearing the girl say this, Pu Shiyu was stunned at first, then lowered his eyes and gave a soft when the two returned to the training ground. Only a mess was left on the ground. Luo Yuan lay on the floor. His appearance was too horrible to look at, and the cat girl was sitting leisurely on top of him. Hello, senior. The little dog girl was startled. She immediately ran towards Luo Yuan, but was hugged by Eula. Classmate Naxian, you don't need to care about this trash at all. The cat girl added nonchalantly, yeah? I just taught him a little lesson. Unexpectedly, he came to fulfill the dungeon promise so quickly. Luo Yuan reached out a trembling hand for help. Yuan, you're bleeding a lot from your nose. Returning to the dormitory at night, when Jiang Naxian opened the comments section again, her state of mind was completely different compared to the panic when she first saw those negative comments. She was much calmer now. She remembered how Pu Shiyu, with red ears, still tried hard to comfort her. She couldn't help but laugh. Was she infected by him? Early the next morning, noisy sounds rang out in the academy. Luo Yuan held a megaphone and shouted loudly. The new club, Portal Treasure Exploration Club, is recruiting. As long as you successfully join, you can get various expensive items for free. Someone was curious. Are such precious things really given away for free? Of course, the speculator deliberately amplified his voice. There are even isotribute items. Join us right now. In the original novel, he also created the club at this time, Portal Treasure Exploration Club. As the name suggests, it is a club that enters portals to find treasures. On the surface, that is. But in reality, it was created by the speculator to gather the female leads to enter the hidden piece dungeon. Then, of course, she had to cooperate. Looks like a great club. Can I join? The speculator said proudly. Of course, before he could finish, Eula, like a speeding train, instantly knocked him flying. You bastard, what do you want to drag classmate Jiang Naxian into now? She immediately stepped forward to explain. Yuan is just recruiting club members, and I've already decided to join. Eula looked at Luo Yuan with disgust. In the original work, Eula was a member of the reading club. At that time, she thought, it fit the persona of a lady from a big family. Thinking about it now, she probably just joined a club to make friends. Sure enough, Eula pushed the speculator away. Then I'll join here too. I have no choice. I must monitor Luo Yuan. Really, for monitoring? Why does it feel like there's some personal interest mixed in? He punched over Shut Up compared to Senior Sujing. Why did she feel like Eula was more like a cat? Not long after, the news of the speculator recruiting club members spread throughout the academy, and his recruitment conditions were purely based on personal preference. No morals. Too ugly? Rejected. Cursed at him before? Rejected. Luo Eula's fangirls? Also rejected. The little dog girl watched with black lines on her face. Basically, anyone he didn't like was rejected. Eula spread a handkerchief on a chair nearby, waved for her to come and sit, accompanied by a gust of wind. The cat girl suddenly appeared. Luo Yuan was dumbfounded. Why are you here? Didn't you say you wouldn't join any clubs? Then I've changed my mind now. I'll definitely pass, right? She ignored Luo Yuan, stamped the membership application form herself, tossed the stamp aside, and just stayed like that and started hosting. All right. We need to hurry and interview the next one. Please come in. Pushed open again. Today's protagonist finally appeared. A girl exuding a cold, alienated aura walked in. Jiang Naxian recognized her at a glance. Pale skin, dazzling silver hair, ice blue eyes paired with a quiet temperament. Exactly the same as described in the novel. Ihana, the speculator, shouted pass, as if injected with chicken blood. He walked forward with a sycophantic face. You're exactly the talent our club needs most. The cat girl also greeted enthusiastically. Hannah, come over here. I'll stamp it for you. Eula also hurriedly took out the club guidebook. It seems these two really have a good relationship, although she knew the novel's plot. But she still asked, Yuan, why did that person pass directly? The speculator looked proud. Because this interview was held from the very beginning just to recruit Ihana. She is a cheat-level character second only to Pushiyu, strong enough to cause balance controversy. Even novice players can easily clear normal stages as long as they have her. Moreover, she is very useful in hidden elements and other event strategies, so it's better to get her in the early stages. This guy was so excited he spoke entirely in gaming terminology. She had to pretend not to understand. What Yuhan said is too hard to understand. Is it because she will participate in club activities seriously that you let her pass? Although she's older than us, but her combat power is strong. That person is not bad, right? She's fine, but actually, Ihana is not someone who can be simply summarized as kind. Among the Academy's F7 commanders, Ihana is always upright and gentle, and it is precisely because of this gentleness that gave her a fatal weakness. After recruiting Ihana, the minimum number of people to found the club was gathered. I'm afraid this guy is going to start shouting eliminated again. Unexpectedly, Luo Yuan suddenly showed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. She looked and was also stunned. Why is the original novel's male lead here too? He introduced himself expressionlessly. I am Pushiyu. In the original work, he clearly went to the Kendo Club. The speculator naturally wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. He announced pass with a treacherous smile. Just like that, the club was successfully established. Moreover, those gathered here were all super popular celebrities in the academy, although caught off guard. But she had more thighs to hug. When doing dungeons, she just needed to hide quietly in the back, lower her presence. But in the midst of such a group of people with cheats, why did the burden of the main attacker still fall on her head? The strongest combat power in the original work appeared. The little dog girl and the cold-faced cutie became the main damage dealers. Jiang Naxian, who was essentially a support, actually saved the entire battle situation single-handedly. This has to start from 3 hours ago. Luo Yuan, having obtained the 2 top combat powers of the original work, was eager to conquer the dungeon. He took out a few new contracts regarding the confidentiality of the dungeon strategy and resource distribution. He explained again. Seeing that all rewards were decided by Luo Yuan, Eula exploded. Do you take us all for fools? Why should everything be handed over to you? The little dog girl hurriedly pulled her to comfort her. Don't worry, Eula. Yuan just wants to divide everything equally. Eula instantly turned into a tame cat. See, since classmate Nacian says so. The cat girl, who had cooperated before, signed the contract readily with Hannah. What they were going to conquer today was the fixed-type dungeon, Ice Cave. Although ice attributes cannot level up here, it has a super high drop rate for items and cores. The cat girl hugged Hannah and cheered, "Great, Hannah." The little dog girl thought to herself, isn't this dungeon chosen just to farm Hannah's favorability? Shiyu asked cautiously if the speculator had a plan. Luo Yuan smiled confidently. I have already planned the entire strategy and formation, seeing a portal really appear ahead. The cat girl was amazed. You can even find a portal in this kind of wilderness. Luo Yuan, who had just climbed the mountain, was panting, gasping for air, unable to speak. Jiang Naxian hurriedly supported him. Are you okay? Yuan, he held on to one breath. I'm fine. Let's go in first. The entire dungeon was made of ice. The temperature was so low that even breathing condensed in a white mist. Even vision was affected to a certain extent. Suddenly a clicking sound came from ahead. Luo Yuan was instantly alert, shouted, "Prepare for battle." Under his command, the protagonist team welcomed their first formal dungeon battle. Everyone remembers their positions, right? Remembered long ago. You should remember yours. Eula and Pu Xiu take the front row. Choi Sujing, wind shield, received. Magic power condensed at her fingertips. Instantly blocked the crushed stones shot by the monster. Nacian was responsible for cover. Under everyone's fierce output, the stone monster's core was finally exposed. Now only the finishing blow is left. Hannah raised the ice spear. The magic power around her condensed like solid substance. She actually stepped on the ice surface she created, assaulting forward at high speed, shattered the monster's core with just one spear thrust. This is why she is called a cheat-level existence. The first battle was easily won. Luo Yuan collected the dropped items while reminding, although this dungeon has no small mobs, but many large monsters that drop cores and items will appear. So we must advance carefully. I see. Yuan is so smart. He knows everything. Isn't this basic operation? This guy is really annoying. Relying on the information advantage held by the speculator, they speed ran all the way. Not long after, they reached the deepest part of the dungeon. I said before, this monster will be very troublesome because of its blizzard passive skill. The skill level is high enough to lower the temperature of the entire dungeon. Before he finished speaking, the snow monster actually woke up. The squad members scattered instantly, but the blizzard was far more violent than imagined. Not only did it interfere with vision, it also caused huge obstruction to their movements. Luo Yuan was actually blown into the air by the wind. Jiang Naxian immediately rushed out, grabbed him, and pressed him under her body. Even Eula was trapped in place. Their combat power was greatly discounted. Luo Yuan realized then, the experience of actual combat and playing games was completely different. Although he knew wind and blizzard had a synergy effect, he didn't expect it to be this strong. The main attacker, Ms. Action, was also limited by the blizzard, unable to launch an effective attack. At this moment, Luo Yuan suddenly noticed Jiang Naxian was not affected. It turned out her passive skill, clairvoyance, could be undisturbed by the blizzard. He immediately shouted to the cat girl, Choi Sujing, move Naxian to a high place. Jiang Naxian, who was carried up by the wind, was confused. What is this for? The speculator changed the strategy. From now on, everyone switched to defense and support. Protect Jiang Naxian. Jiang Naxian becomes the main damage dealer. Just concentrate on shattering the snowman's core. The little dog girl roared in her heart. Speculator, you dog. She injected a large amount of magic power into the bullet, waiting for the opportunity. At the moment a crack appeared in the monster's core, she fired a shot full of magic power. As the monster fell, the blizzard disappeared with it. Jiang Naxian returned to the ground. Is everyone okay? Eula stepped forward. We are fine. The cat girl laughed. Everyone doesn't even have scratch. She breathed a sigh of relief. It really scared me to death just now. It's naturally a good thing that the speculator trusts her, but there should be a limit. Thinking, she looked at the culprit, Yuhan. What is that over there? Is it the dungeon reward? Even if she didn't recognize it, she could tell at a glance it was a rare item. Luo Yuhan didn't put it away. Instead, he showed it to everyone. Before leaving the dungeon, there is something I want to discuss with everyone first. This kind of rare item is hard to buy even with money. So compared to exchanging it for money, I think it's more meaningful to use it to improve the team member's strength. How about giving the item to Senior Hannah, whose attribute matches, this time? In the future, if other good items drop, they will also be distributed to members with matching attributes. Hannah's cheeks were slightly red. A hint of expectation was faintly visible in her ice blue eyes. Jiang Naxian knew that because of her fire curse, she needed ice attribute items to alleviate it, so she immediately expressed her willingness. Immediately after, others also agreed. Hannah was not good with words, but her expression was full of gratitude. Thank you, everyone. The cat girl hugged her happily. I said everyone is a good kid, right? Hannah gave a beady in MMH. Also, according to the previous agreement, the items given for joining the club, I'll distribute them to you now. Thought I would renege on the debt. Really unexpected. What do you take me for? Naxian, this is your share. The little dog girl's eyes lit up. The attached skill is very practical. The appearance design is also beautiful. It must be very valuable. Keep it safe first and cash it out when short of money. After the dungeon settlement money arrives, her purse will be ample. Jiang Naxian was still thinking happily at this time. Before the midterm exam, only study-related plots remained. It should be very peaceful recently. Unexpectedly, she was slapped in the face the next day. She ran desperately forward. A group of crazy people follow behind. The girl cursed the speculator in her heart. You bastard. As for why she fell into a troublesome situation again, from the speculator's narration at the end of the ice cave plot, the reason can be known. After ending the conversation, I sent the children away, but I still have an unfinished task. He rummaged through his pocket, took out a fox bead, and held it in his hand. I have to utilize this. Who should I ask for help? He quickly locked onto a target. This happens to be a ready-made candidate. Will listen to my request properly, always with me, and won't be bewildered by the bead. Someone easily satisfied. Naxian, you take this. The girl took it without any defense. Okay, but what is this? Luo Yuhan smiled mysteriously. Just keep wearing it on you for now. If you encounter any strange things, remember to tell me. After Luo Yuan used the little dog girl once again, he finally welcomed an epic fail. His teammates, who should have been in the original work, actually all stood on Jiang Naxian's side. All this started from the bead Luo Yuan gave her. From the moment she took it, everyone chased after her relentlessly as if possessed. They even wrote twisted love letters to the bead with blood. The speculator looked leisurely. Just endure it for a week and it'll be fine. Hearing this, Jiang Naxian felt her whole being was unwell. This trash scum dead otaku. It's not the first day he hasn't done human deeds. Naxian, let's have lunch together. As soon as Eula appeared, the speculator ran away. She just wanted to explain the bead problem to Eula. When she was surrounded by people so tightly that water couldn't trickle through, seeing that she was about to be swallowed by the surging crowd, a big hand grabbed her in time. It was actually Pu Shiyu. Relying on his tall figure, he stood on the steps, lifted her into the air like carrying a chick. Naxian, what happened? Not long after, except for Luo Yuan, the rest of the squad arrived one after another. Learning that the bead caused the trouble, Pu Shiyu immediately drew the sword on his back, about to destroy it. Jiang Naxian hesitated, but this was given by Yuan. Pu Shiyu's attitude was firm compared to that kind of thing. You are more important. These words were like a beam of sunlight. The little dog girl's gloomy sky cleared instantly. Dummy is still the most reliable. That sword is the treasure of the hero Pu Shiyan. It definitely has no problem. Moreover, with him stepping forward to smash the bead, Luo Yuan can't say much, but she never expected. After the sword fell, not only was the bead not destroyed, it didn't even leave a scratch. Eula put on gloves. Let me try. A week passed in a flash. They used all kinds of methods, still couldn't get rid of this bead, if not for maintaining the persona of a sunny puppy. she would have long taken this broken bead and cracked the speculator's head open. What made her even more uneasy was the madness of this group of people seemed to be getting more and more serious. Today is exactly 1 week. Luo Yuhan suddenly spoke. Neixian, you take the bead to the lakeside illuminated by the full moon. She immediately responded, is it the lake near the main building? That's right. I will try my best to stall these people. Jiang Neixian was full of suspicion. Can he do it with his trash stats? Seeing the crowd getting closer, she didn't have time to think too much. Could only turn her head and run. Luo Yuhan blocked the front of the crowd. Looking confident, stop. If you want to pass, you have to step over. Before the voice fell, he was completely submerged by the swarming crowd. Didn't even let out a scream. Jiang Neixian went crazy. She knew this guy was unreliable at all. She ran forward desperately, but a chill gradually rose from the bottom of her heart. The eyes of these people were already weird enough to make one's hair stand on end. Fortunately, reinforcements arrived in time, separated her from the crowd. Yula looked anxious. What exactly is going on? How did the situation become worse? Pushiyu also drew his sword to block, asked loudly, Neixian, are you okay? Jiang Neixian took the opportunity to escape. Thanks for your help. Yuan asked me to go to the lakeside, near the main building. I'll go over and check first. Shiyu immediately agreed. Okay, we'll come find you after solving these people. Yula also immediately instructed, you must be safe. However, even with the male and female leads helping, she was still trapped by more and more people. Seeing that she was unable to escape, just then, a gust of strong wind rolled up her back. Hello, it's cat girl Choi Sujing. Below, Ihana was stepping steadily on an ice pillar. Her tone carried concern. Are you okay? Jiang Neixian's nose soured, full of emotion. Unexpectedly, even the seniors came to save her. Except for that speculator guy. Everyone else is simply angels. Choi Sujing flew her to a higher place. Asked to send you to the lakeside, right? Just like that, as the bright full moon rose, Jiang Neixian finally arrived at the lakeside Luo Yuhan had mentioned. The bead in her pocket suddenly flew out on its own, slowly floating to the center of the lake, emitting a blinding, dazzling light. The bead actually transformed into a shimmering portal. Jiang Neixian's eyes widened in shock. The bead turned into a portal? That's right. Luo Yuhan suddenly popped out from the bushes. This is the item dungeon, the nine-tailed fox's treasury. Choi Sujing leaned in close to him. You knew everything back then? He looked smug. I have my ways. That's too much. You should have said something beforehand about this kind of thing. Tears filled the girl's eyes. This was the first time she had shown such intense emotion in front of the male lead. This made Luo Yuhan freeze on the spot. Jiang Neixian questioned silently in her heart. What? Did you think I would never get angry? Just because I'm a sunshine-type heroine, I should obey your arrangements without complaint? Although this was the persona she chose for herself, it didn't mean she could be used for dangerous things without any explanation. Because for him, that this place wasn't a game or a novel at all, but a real, existing reality. Luo Yuan panicked completely. I didn't mean to. Because I didn't know what variables might appear, I couldn't say it. I'm sorry. He reached out to wipe the girl's tears. But in the next second, his hand hit empty air. Yula pulled Jiang Neixian tightly into her embrace, glaring coldly at Luo Yuan. Not just her. Pu Shiyu, Ihana, and even a usually whimsical cat girl, Choi Sujing, all stood behind Jiang Neixian. You really haven't changed a bit. Your nature of casually using others is exactly the same as in the past. Luo Yuan tried to defend himself. I just chose the optimal plan to get the best result. This was a decision made after careful consideration. To you, the fact that those classmates fell into danger wasn't even within your scope of consideration, was it? I told you, I was afraid of variables. Your attitude of using that kind of thing as an excuse is what leaves people speechless. Yula, calm down. Jiang Neixian withdrew from her embrace and said softly, I'm fine. But Neixian, the cat girl suddenly spoke up. The priority now is to deal with the dungeon that has appeared. But as soon as her voice fell, her aura suddenly turned cold. An intense killing intent surged in her eyes. Of course, after this, I will definitely settle the score with him properly. Being used as a tool is super unpleasant. Luo Yuhan knew he was in the wrong and stopped arguing. He turned and said, first of all, only the person holding the bead can enter and exit this dungeon. Yula immediately grabbed him vigilantly. You want to put Neixian in danger again? He hurriedly explained, there are no monsters inside. He then looked at Jiang Naxian. There are only rewards left. Placing the bead on the lake surface illuminated by the full moon means returning the bead to its original owner. After that, you can take 3 treasures from the nine-tailed fox's treasury. For Jiang Naxian, although she still felt aggrieved, this was a good opportunity to earn points. She decided to retreat in order to advance, thinking of gaining some favorability from the readers. Since the bead was brought by Yuhan, let's choose what Yuhan wants. The speculator indeed showed a delighted expression. I would certainly appreciate that. However, I only want. No way. Naxian. Yula blocked him again. Pushiyu also nodded in agreement. Naxian was the one who suffered the most. Luo Yuhan tidied his collar that Yula had messed up and continued his previous sentence. I only want 1 reward. The remaining 2, Naxian, you choose what you want. Hannah condensed an ice path on the lake surface. After thanking them, Jiang Naxian entered the portal. She was stunned by the scene inside. As expected of a nine-tailed fox's treasury, everywhere was piled with items that looked incredibly precious. Suddenly, a voice rang in her mind. You have returned my child's bead. Naxian asked in a whisper, Are you the nine-tailed fox? That is correct. You helped me retrieve my child's relic. As a reward, I allow you to choose 3 treasures from here. Do you know of an item called Ghost Fire? I didn't expect anyone to know about that thing. It is that green lamp hanging at the entrance. Mission accomplished. Next was to choose what she wanted. Her gaze swept across the treasury. She was attracted by a white tassel ornament. The nine-tailed fox spoke again. Your intuition is sharp. That is my most precious treasure. It is an ornament made from the tail hair of my husband, the 1,000-year fox. It possesses the power to dispel all evil. She picked up the ornament and examined it closely. Can you really give me such a precious thing? I promise to let you choose 3 items. If you want it, take it. The little dog girl immediately thanked her. I will cherish it. She began looking for the 3rd treasure again. An ancient yet exquisite key caught her eye. What is this? That is an item that can bring down the protection of my clan. Additionally, it is also the key leading to the tower. After a short while, Jiang Naxian walked out of the portal holding the green lamp. The speculator immediately showed a surprised expression. The little dog girl smiled brightly. Yuan, I got it. Luo Yuan immediately took it. This is it. Thank you for your hard work. Seeing him instantly stow it into his inventory, as if afraid it would be snatched away, the cat girl approached curiously. Have you chosen the other rewards? I chose them. It's a nine-tailed foxtail hair ornament that can dispel evil and a key item. Hearing it was a key, a trace of doubt flashed in Luo Yuhan's eyes. There is such an item? She said it could obtain the nine-tailed fox's protection. Yula suddenly appeared. She shoved Luo Yuhan away fiercely. Naxian, ignore him. How is the situation? Did you encounter any danger? I'm fine, not injured. No, let me check properly. It's all that bastard's fault for making you suffer like this. In the days that followed, the classmates who were bewildered by the bead previously came to apologize to Naxian one after another. It's fine. It's been a week, I've long forgotten. And she thought to herself, the person who should really apologize is clearly that guy. Later, Luo Yuan was in charge of checking exam answers with everyone. The little dog girl sighed in frustration. I got another one wrong. Shiyu immediately comforted her softly. I thought that question was a bit difficult too. 89 points wasn't excellent, but for Jiang Naxian, it was huge progress. As a government-subsidized awakener, her starting point was different from others. Yula was happy for her. You did even better than in the mock exams, right? The cat girl also encouraged her. Yeah, this score is considered quite a good performance. Hannah gave affirmation. As long as you do well in the practicals, you can firmly enter the top ranks. The little dog girl felt warm inside. It's all thanks to everyone. She had been worried about not meeting the standard and being unable to continue club activities. Yula waved her fist. If that really happened, I would formally protest to the academy. Excluding government-subsidized awakeners when setting questions makes no sense in itself. Yula is the best. Just then, a waiter walked over with drinks. Excuse me, who ordered the caramel macchiato? Luo Yuhan raised his hand. It's mine. Yula suddenly frowned, looking at him with a sharp gaze. Didn't you used to only drink espresso? Come to think of it, you also ordered braised ribs for lunch. I remember you didn't eat meat before. This period of spending time together actually made Yula suspicious of this brother who had changed his core. The original heroine became suspicious of her brother's identity, just because they were both transmigrators. Compared to the little dog girl who came here at a young age, Luo Yuhan, who had just transmigrated, exposed too many differences from the original owner. For example, he didn't like sweets, but ordered a caramel macchiato. Eula frowned tightly, sweeping a sharp gaze over him. Didn't you used to only drink espresso? Luo Yuan chuckled. I just wanted to drink something sweet recently. Kind of think of it. You also ordered braised ribs for lunch. I remember you didn't eat meat before. He casually averted his gaze. Can't taste change? I think meat smells pretty good now. Didn't you use a baton as a weapon before? Isn't a flag cooler? Can preferences change so easily? Seeing Eula continue to question, the speculator will be exposed sooner or later. The little dog girl hurriedly stood up. Stop arguing, you two. Eula immediately denied it. No, this isn't arguing. Although he's still trash, these inexplicable changes are annoying, so I just said it. Jiang Naxian thought, isn't this just quarreling? But the speculator had no self-awareness of being exposed. Instead, he provoked her. People always change. Besides, when have you ever seen me in a good mood? Clearly, your changes are too drastic. I didn't expect my little sister to care about me so much. Stop pretending to be a brother. It's disgusting. Eula, do you want to go order a dessert with me? Having no choice, she could only hurry to separate the two. In this atmosphere, can we really finish the practical exam properly? The little dog girl never expected that when she took out the other two treasures earlier, Luo Yuan had used the Eye of Insight, and that key actually attracted his attention, because in the game in the past, he had never seen this item. Among the keys to the tower, there's actually one I don't know about. The nine-tailed fox is indeed the embodiment of Easter eggs. Jiang Naxian seemed to have brought the key without knowing anything, but that's actually fortunate. I'll find a suitable excuse to ask for the key later. After reading the newly published chapter and the psychological description of the speculator, the little dog girl's face turned green with anger. The key was exposed so quickly, and this guy really wants to take all the benefits for himself. No wonder Eula hates him so much, she grinds her teeth. I have to think of an excuse quickly. I absolutely cannot let the key be snatched away. But speaking of which, if the ornament can remove abnormal statuses. She looked at Hannah not far away. I wonder if it will be effective against the curse on her. Sensing the gaze, Hannah looked up. What's wrong, Naxian? Nothing. It's just the first time I've seen so many people in the training grounds. Hannah smiled. It seems to be like this all the time during exam periods. She hadn't expected that one could cram for the practicals too. Just then, she saw many gazes focusing on this side. They should be looking for teammates. By the way, Naxian, Eula suddenly linked arms with her. Have you thought about what I said? About throwing away the trash. Eula didn't shy away from saying it right in front of her brother. She had asked no less than 10 times just today. She looked apologetic. That won't do. Like I said just now, I already promised to participate with you, Han. But think about it. If one of them is trash, then the team's trash percentage is 20. Eula, that's enough. A voice suddenly interrupted their conversation. Do you want to team up with us for this exam? Yeah, we seem to have seen this person during the interview. Eula refused bluntly. Sorry, I don't want to merge teams for the time being. That girl clearly hadn't expected to be rejected and instantly showed a sad expression. As expected, public invitations shouldn't be done. Mustering up so much courage only to fail. On the other side, someone issued an invitation to Shiyu. Shiyu, do you want to join our team? Sorry, I'm still considering it. Another rejection. Hannah was also surrounded. Many people came to ask them to team up one after another. Everyone was quite active. It even reached the point of snatching people. But these people all avoided her and Luo Yuan and Senior Sujing. Although Senior Sujing had outstanding abilities, that she was shunned because she was a mixed blood of a different race. No need to say more about the speculator being scolded. And she was just an ordinary student of Class F. Just then, a girl suddenly rushed in front of her, staring at her with sparkling eyes. You're a student Jiang Naxian, right? Just when the little dog girl thought someone was inviting her. The other party suddenly grabbed her hand. Please, you must participate in my experiment. Jiang Naxian was confused. What experiment is she asking me to do?